Hello, welcome to White Tree Tarot. My name is Alex, and today I will be doing 2 more prompts from Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot. Most used decks and most anticipated decks. So let's start with the first one. Top 5 most used decks during the last decade. Actually, my tarot decade is just 3 years long, but still some statistics exist. Let me start with my oldest tarot deck. Oops. Nicoletta Ceccoli Tarot. This is a mass market deck still available on the market. It's a more Rider-Waite Smith deck than other systems, but still not very close one. When I first saw this deck in bookshop, it just spoke to me. I didn't have any information regarding this deck. I didn't know what the pictures look like, but just seeing this deck, just seeing the box, I knew I must have it. For me, this is watery deck with fire element, you know, like hot water. I only use this deck when reading for myself and when I need an advice. I call this my older sister deck because this is a deck I can turn to when I need an advice from someone who knows me, who understands, who listens, who doesn't judge. I know that some tarot readers use... Oh, sorry. It turned upside down. No idea why. I know there are tarot readers who use this as a shadow deck and to work with inner child. And I totally understand why. But to me, this is a very strong deck. This is a picture on the box. It says of Wands. This is a very strong deck. The little beings, fairies, dolls, however you want to approach them, are fully in control of each situation. They are aware, they are strong, but sometimes, that's my opinion, they pretend to be weak. So, yeah, this is my big sister deck. Where I can turn to for some help. Artwork wasn't made for tarot deck. These are just beautiful pictures, beautiful illustrations by one artist, Nicoletta Ceccoli. And the little white book, standard little white book, just a couple of sentences for each card. But sometimes those sentences make absolutely perfect sense. So when I get stuck, sometimes with any of the cards, I go to Little White Book, and sometimes just one word, okay, skip that part, makes absolutely sense and clears out the card. As I said, it's close to Rider-Waite system, but not a clone, definitely not a clone. And it also helps to look up the original paintings, not just to know what was the whole picture around this part, which is pictured on the card, but also sometimes those pictures names, those artwork names make, let's say, help me understand more about the card. The only male figure in this deck is Emperor. For example, I pulled one card out. This is Lover's card. And knowing that the original artwork is called Bliss, to me, I hope you can see it, to me it gave another layer to this beautiful picture. So yeah, one of my oldest decks, one of my heart and soul decks, Nicoletta Ceccoli. Actually, I wanted to show you that there is also an oracle deck. Box for oracle deck is much more sturdy than for the card deck, unfortunately. It also comes with a guidebook. This guidebook gives you more information on each card than little white book for Nicoletta Ceccoli Tarot, and the pictures are bigger. Cards are bigger and pictures are bigger. So yeah, when I use tarot, I sometimes pull out also the oracle cards. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next most used tarot deck during those 3 years is, let me show you the box. Pagan Otherworlds. Famous deck. I'm sure lots of you have seen it. Let me take... There are extra cards representing moon phases, but I must confess I don't use them. I just don't see how to incorporate them. This is an indie deck, independently produced deck. It's still available. It's produced by Ussi, and the original artwork for this deck was oil paintings. This deck follows Waite-Smith system closely, so you don't really need a guidebook with it, although it has a separate guidebook. Let me show it to you. Beautiful guidebook, quite thick, nicely done. Writings there are sometimes very poetic and very beautiful, but to be honest, I read it once and I haven't referred to it afterwards, because this is really a Waite-Smith system deck, and you understand what's depicted here right out of the box. To me, this is calm, wise deck. It has precise answers, but it likes precise questions. And it's earthy, to my mind. It's earthy deck, maybe also a bit of air deck with quite sharp thinking there. I use this for readings for myself and also for others, especially when the situation is intense and some calm mind and approach from above, from without is needed. And I like the idea here behind the minor arcana. Let me show you some cards. That if you think that there are no people on the cards and they are like Pippish style, first of all, look closely and you will see some notions about Waite-Smith deck and system. And secondly, especially in wands, where are wands? In the wands suit, you are the person in the card. For example, if we imagine Waite-Smith deck, you are the one standing between those branches. You are the one standing on a cliff and looking on a sea. You are the one dancing on a hill. So you are the missing person on this card. So yeah, really like this deck. Just looking through the cards puts my thoughts in order and my feet back to ground. So really calm, clear deck. Just love it. So let's go to deck number 3, Victorian Romantic Tarot. I have the third edition with metallic foiling. This is independently produced deck by Baba Studios. Unfortunately, right now it's out of print, but who knows? Maybe Baba Studios will bring it back someday again. This is also a quite close follower to a Whitesmith deck, and it has, let me show you, 2 lovers cards. I use both of them because they just give a different layer to the understanding of the lovers. One is more romantic, the other one is more sensual and physical. And also 2 devil cards. I also use both of them. To me, this one is more about when you are your own devil, tempting yourself and allowing yourself things you shouldn't be allowing. And the other one is about the relationship with other people, toxic relationship or manipulating with people. So yeah, I use both devil cards also. To me, this is soft, warm deck, taking me into different universe and having, that soft smell of old face powder jars, this like rose essence, something, like vintagey smell, feel. This is definitely, to me, water deck, emotions, feelings. I actually use it just for relationship, love readings. I use it for myself, I use it for others, and usually people really, really love those pictures and those depictions. They are not, to me, I think they are not scary, so even if the person is not very familiar with tarot deck, it's okay to use it. I would say that this is the only deck in my collection where I associate myself more with Queen of Cups, not the Queen of Swords. So yeah, this is definitely emotions and love deck, and Queen of Cups is on the box of the cards. It has a separate guidebook, but it's very interesting to read because it gives also some background regarding where those pictures on the cards came from. But as I said, this is a Rider-Waite system deck, so Whitesmith system deck, sorry. So no problem to use it without the guidebook, I would say, or just with the little white book. So now we're coming to our next deck. Oh, yeah, here it is. Oh, this is my little treasure. Bohemian Gothic Tarot. Also published by Baba Studios, independently produced, also unfortunately out of print right now. Baba Studios say that they won't bring this deck back soon, but they don't say it will never come back. So this also is kind of Waite-Smith deck, but with its own twist. This is such a smart deck with its own sense of humor, and that's a bit whimsical humor, I would say. To me, this is airy deck. Thoughts, ideas, that kind of stuff. And when I first saw this deck, I must confess it seemed a bit shallow, a bit banal. Is there a word? I hope yes. But I was so wrong. So wrong. This is actually the very first deck I used when reading for others. Let's say reading for others outside my study group. Yeah, this is the first deck I took with me when reading on an outdoors event. I use it mostly for advice and situation analysis. To get a fresh look, to get a witty approach, it works better with bigger spreads, at least for me, and not one card draw. And I use it also for relationship readings, but I like to sit and talk to this deck, so that's why I use it for bigger spreads. I have a mini version of this deck, and I even have a backup copy of this deck. There are only 2 decks in my collection which have backup copies, and this is one of them, so that's how much I treasure this. When I purchased this deck, oh my god, I love this approach. I love this idea. This is really a 5 of Swords situation, when you can't really tell which is taking advantage of whom. You know, like, okay, maybe he's a predator, but she doesn't look like an innocent victim to me. So, yeah, the humor, the approach, just love this deck. Before, I had this deck at a time when the additional guidebook, here it is, the additional big guidebook was out of print. And I went through many forums and tarot groups just to collect bits and pieces about this deck from the original guidebook, because I really, really wanted to know this deck better. And you can use it just with the little white book, no problem. You don't need the bigger guidebook, but it's a very interesting read, and I'm happy to finally have also the guidebook. So yeah, one of my, again, treasure decks. So let's go to the next one. And the next one is Stretch Tarot. I think I have the first edition, I suppose. It's an independently produced deck. It's still available on the creator's Stretch Tarot on creator's website. I think it's out of stock right now, but they are restocking, so you can still get it definitely. It's a Rider-Waite-Smith system also. It doesn't have any guidebook, at least as far as I know. No, sorry. There is a guidebook you can download and print out yourself, but it's quite a short one. No big descriptions or not a lot of information here, but it's quite clear what the cards are trying to tell you here. The pictures are ready to understand. And minor arcana, okay, here. Minor arcana have keywords. Sometimes they help, sometimes I ignore them, but yeah, even if you don't look into the guidebook, I think if you are familiar with Waite system, you should be able to read it. It was a big hit when it just came out. I don't see it mentioned often lately, but it's still a very approachable deck. To me, it's a mixture of earth and a bit of fire. And for some reason, to me, it has male energy. Maybe because the creator of this deck is male artist. I often choose this deck for quick readings, when I need a quick answer, and when I have time or I want to pull out just one card. So this is like, like snap deck. You ask, you get the answer, it's clear, move on. So yeah, quick, precise answers, and sometimes keywords are just this little one small word you needed to hear. One quick note regarding this deck. It's a collage, no, not a collage, it's a mixed media deck. And on some of the cards you can see it quite obviously that there were used different not only paper, not only photographs, but also foil and paint, and it all was put together, and then afterwards it was photographed. So it's a mixed media, not photo collage, but mixed media deck. And those parts of paper, sometimes on the background, you will see parts of newspapers or parts of books. And if you pay closer attention to those parts, you will find there some keywords or some underlined text or just text which goes well with the card. I just find some quick examples. For example, on the lover's card, there is a short love poem written here. If you pay close attention, maybe with a magnifying glass, you can read it. For example, here on 3 of Wands, there are, I hope you can see it. There's the word target, which is underlined. Again, word target and target in sight. All those places underlined. So sometimes it's interesting to pay attention also to the background of those cards. And I just love that on the neck of this wonderful magician lady, it says something like 22 arcana steps of the path, figures for you to unmask. So here's some text regarding tarot cards. So yeah, if you have this deck or if you get this deck, pay close attention to the details. Sometimes they are very smart and interesting to discover. So moving on. Those were 5 decks in my top, but I also have one honorable mention. Maybe just because I love that deck so much that I couldn't go without mentioning it here. Oh, sorry. My one and only vampire deck by Robert and Place. Unfortunately, it's out of print now. It was published in 2009 by St. Martin's Press. So at the time it was published, I guess you could call it mass market deck. I wrote to Mr. Place and asked, does he have any plans of reprinting this deck? He said no, but who knows? He's reprinting Buddha Tarot, so maybe also Vampire Tarot. This honorable mention is here maybe not so much because some glare. Those are glossy cards, so not because it was used very often, but it was used when heavyweight questions were at stake, and it gave very deep answers, impactful answers. This deck for me, it's air, intellect, communication, thinking, but also fire. It's quite a passionate deck. When you get in touch with it, it will come to you with all its heart and all its knowledge. Upside again. This also, to me, is male energy. Also, maybe because author is Robert and Place, and it's heavily based on Bram Stoker's Dracula, so some more male energy. This is a wise man whom you can undoubtedly, am I saying it correct? Undoubtedly trust, and here is Mr. Bram Stoker himself. I only use it for myself because I feel that you need to connect this deck really and read through the guidebook, have some maybe additional knowledge about depictions of vampires in popular culture to some extent, and you have to trust this deck. It tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. If you, I have asked additional questions or I have tried to pull extra cards just to get maybe a bit softer answer. And each time this deck goes like, okay, this is your time, this is your energy you're using. So if you really want to hear from me that everything is sweet and fluffy and everything's going to be fine, okay, I'll tell you that. Here you go. Goodbye. So you have to trust this deck. Even if it gives you answers you don't like at the first second, you have to trust it. I use it, I think it's better used with small spreads, because even one card gives you a very deep message. And I think it can be used for all types of questions, emotions, relationships, some work advices, some creative advices. It will do just fine. You just have to get to know this deck. That's the main thing. So we will end my top 5 most used decks here and go on to the next question. Most anticipated decks in 2020. Number 1 in this list is Memento, Mori, Oracle and Lenormand deck by Claire Goodchild. She's also the author behind the Antique Anatomy Tarot and Oracle of Oddities. As far as I can judge from the pictures, this artistic style goes well together with those 2 decks, so I hope this will be another gem in my Claire Goodchild collection. I have already placed my order. I am waiting for it to come in. But there on her website is available already the second print run on back order, and it's written that the second print run will be delivered around March, April, or something like that. Deck number 2, Deck of the Bastard by Tarot by 7. This deck is out there for quite a while right now, and I'm planning to finally get my hands on it this year. It's a combination of a Teia deck for majors. Quad cards also come from a Teia deck. Aces remind me of Tarocco Sopraffino, and other minors come from Wade Smith deck. So it's really a bastardized deck. Number 3 is a deck which has been long waited in tarot community, and it's a Deviant Moon Oracle. So a brother or sister oracle for Deviant Moon Tarot by Patrick Valenza. There is Abandoned Oracle out approximately a month ago, but like Deviant Moon, I was stunned by the artwork and the deck of Triomphik de la Luna, but the Abandoned Oracle isn't my cup of tea. But I have seen some sample cards from Deviant Moon Oracle. I think I will like that one. Unfortunately, publication date is unknown. Number 3, it's a tarot deck by Catrin Welz-Stein. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she's the author behind Mystical Moments Oracle. There are approximately 50 cards out there on her Facebook page. They are stunningly beautiful, each and every of them. Lots of thought and talent went into those cards. When it will be published, there is no information, but I will be impatiently waiting for this deck to come out. And last 2 of the most anticipated decks for this year is by all-time favorite Robert and Place. The first one is new tarot deck called the Alchemical Tarot of Marseille. And the publication date is yet unknown, but on Robert and Play's website you can find pictures of all the major cards. So the work is in progress, and I hope this or maybe next year the deck will be published. I would like to give you a short description Robert and Place gives for this deck. This deck is based on the divinatory meanings that I have worked out for the Alchemical tarot. The deck will have gold edges and a 2-part cloth-covered box. Each trump displays a quote from the ancient Hermetica, and these quotes clarify the meaning of the imagery on the card in a way that demonstrates the underlying Hermetic philosophy. So again, one very intelligent, very well thought out deck by Robert M. Place is coming. A second deck also by Robert M. Place is Buddha Tarot. There are rumors, I hope there are too, that Buddha Tarot will be reprinted either this year or next year. So this was end of my list, end of this video. Thank you so much if you stayed with me till the end. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.